The cool thing about our alcohol calculator is once you determine you want wine to be 20%, you can click that lock button and now no, it won't move no matter what else you move on the ratios. In this example, we're just going to scroll up. We have a signature cocktail suggestion list. Some of our favorites that we've used over the 10, 11 years that are always really popular and also offer a lot of variety as well for dietary restrictions and easy to find ingredients, but still taste great. Hi, I'm Brian, owner and lead bartender of Kitsap Bartending Services. We've been bartending private events and weddings for over 11 years, and one of the main questions we get asked during the planning stages is, how much alcohol will I need for my event? And after seeing a lot of really generic alcohol calculators online, we decided to build our own that will not only help determine how much alcohol you'll need, but also break it down by the variety that you'll need as well. So today we're going to walk you through how to use the alcohol calculator, decipher what it means, and then determine how to figure out or to use those calculations for your shopping list. So within the client portal, you're going to want to go down, scroll down to the alcohol calculator. It's about halfway down. Once you get there, we're just going to walk you through each step today. First, we're going to start with the date of the event. This will help determine, not only give you a title for your event, but also it'll help factor in the season. Obviously, during warm weather, you're going to need a little bit more light, crisp beer and wine, whereas on a colder event, you won't need as much. So we're going to choose June 28th. The next question is guest count. Pretty straightforward. How many guests will be there? How many guests will be drinking? Today, we're going to do 100 guests just to make it easy. Hours of event. Again, this one's pretty straightforward. It helps determine the overall quantity that you'll need of drinks. So today we're going to do 4 hours. The type of drink, you're going to choose between a champagne toast or a drink in hand toast. Obviously, if this is an event where there's not going to be toasts or speeches, do a drink in hand, even if there's not going to be any sort of speeches. Estimated weather. For some reason, side note, that when I click on the drop-down menus, it doesn't show you. So I will be reading what the options are. But when you use that calculator, you will see the options on there. So estimated weather, room temperature or cold weather, warm weather or hot weather. Today we're going to choose warm weather just to make it easy. Type of drinkers. Again, light drinkers, average drinkers, or heavy drinkers. To start, 99.9% of weddings are going to be your average drinker. Light drinker option is if you have a lot of family that don't drink, or if it's like a corporate event, work party, where people tend to drink a little bit less. And then heavy drinker, people always think, oh, we have a lot of heavy drinkers, or we don't want to risk running out of alcohol. So they make this selection. Very rare, more often than not, average drinker is going to be the one you need. If it's not that, light drinker is the one. And then heavy drinker, keep in mind, this is like if it's a birthday party, lots of shots, people are staying the night, there's no designated drivers, everyone's going to be drinking a lot. So that's pretty rare because oftentimes what happens is even if you have a large group of heavy drinkers, you're going to have the designated drivers. You're going to have someone like grandma who's only going to have a glass or two of wine. So it kind of averages out. I strongly recommend doing average drinkers for your event, especially if it's a wedding. One thing that people always say is, well, we don't want to run out of alcohol. And I totally get it. We don't want the event to run out of alcohol either. So what we've done is we've put a little cushion in there to determine how much you'll need, but with a little bit extra just to be safe. So keep that in mind. Oftentimes people will say like, oh, our groomsmen said we need this, or my coworker said we need this. We've been bartending 11 years. So keep that in mind. We've done over 1,000 weddings, private events. So we have our calculations down pretty good. So average drinker, because like I said, that's mostly what's going to be happening. Select variation for drinks. This is when you're going to need beer and wine or beer, wine, and cocktail events. So we're going to start off with the beer, wine, and cocktail since that is a little bit more confusing where people kind of struggle with a little bit more. So once you choose beer, wine, and cocktails, you're going to see there's a ratio of the drinks, the percentage of drinks. So this is pretty industry standard. Beer is about 20%, wine's about 30%, and cocktails is about 50%. If you think your crowd is a wine crowd over a beer crowd, you can always adjust up or down any category as you see fit. So today we're going to lower the wine because we think our crowd is going to be more beer and cocktails. So we've lowered it down to wine 20%. The cool thing about our alcohol calculator is once you determine you want wine to be 20%, you can click that lock button and now note it won't move no matter what else you move on the ratios. So like I said, we're just going to switch the beer and wine ratios, the 20 and 30%. We've changed the beer to 30% and the wine to 20%, and the cocktails are staying the same at 50%. Again, you can adjust up or down as you see fit. Once you've input all the information, you're going to want to hit calculate. Our shopping list is going to pop out. For the beer, it's going to show down the bottles of lager, how many bottles of IPA you need. It's going to give you our suggestion on what's the most popular. Lagers, IPAs, or pale ales are by far the most popular options, so that's why those two are there. And then the third option is going to be the seasonal option. So if it's a warm day, you're going to want something like a wheat beer, like a Hefeweizen or a Belgian, or even like a hard seltzer. Those are really popular right now. So keep in mind, those are what you're going to want. On a colder day or a fall wedding, you might want something like an amber or a brown ale or even like a seasonal cider. So that's going to be how much you need. On the beer line, you'll see 120 total cans, and then the next three lines are breaking it down by each option that we suggest. So if you do want to add a fourth option, you can kind of determine how many you want. But we like to keep it simple. Three options is more than enough, especially if you have a good variety like a lager, IPA, and then something else like a seltzer or cider or amber. Then when you go down to wine, again, it's going to give you the total bottles you'll need right here. And then it's going to break it down. So in our example, we did a warm weather day. So obviously you're going to need something more light and crisp than you would on a cold day. So that's why it will say 7 bottles of red wine, 7 bottles of white wine, and then 6 bottles of rosé. So again, you have more crisp, light wine. However, if you don't want to offer a rosé, you can either choose to offer that as another type of white wine. So say you want to do 7 bottles of Chardonnay and 6 bottles of Pinot Grigio. Or if you just want to offer one style of white wine, you can just do 13 bottles, 7 and 6, 13 of white wine, and then 7 of the red wine. Obviously, when you go for a colder event, it's going to raise that red wine. And then if you do a warm or hot weather, it's going to lower the red wine and increase the white wine. Again, you'll want something lighter, crisper, cold served. The liquor. Moving on to the liquor. This part is really easy. However, this is where most people get tripped up or don't realize the potential of what you can do with it. So it just says 13 liquor bottles. That part is just for like general budgeting, give you a general idea on how much you'll need overall. The number that you really want to pay attention to is this serving. So right next to the word liquor, it will say 200 servings in this example. So you'll take the 200 servings and then you'll determine what cocktails you'll want to offer. In this example, we're just going to scroll up. We have a signature cocktail suggestion list. Some of our favorites that we've used over the 10, 11 years that are always really popular and also offer a lot of variety as well for dietary restrictions and easy to find ingredients, but still taste great. So we're just going to keep it easy. The old fashioned Paloma, we're going to do one signature cocktail in this example, and then I'll show you how to do multiple. So first, the list, you're going to do 1.5 ounces of bourbon or rye. That's how much you need per cocktail. So we need 200 servings. So we're going to do 1.5 times 200. So you're going to need 300 ounces of bourbon. You're going to need 300 ounces of grapefruit juice, and so on. Just move down the list of the ingredients. If you choose to use a different signature cocktail, it's just as easy. All you do is just determine the recipe that you'll be using. Say it's something simple like a vodka cranberry or a multi-ingredient cocktail. And all you'll do is just take the spec sheet with the ingredients and go down and multiply that by 200 in this example. So after we've done that, let's say we want to do 2 signature cocktails. You'll have the 200 servings, and then you'll determine, so you have 200 servings and you're doing two signature cocktails. So obviously you'll need 100 of this cocktail and 100 of this cocktail. So 200 divided by 2 signature cocktails. Today we're going to stick with the old-fashioned Paloma and that Mexican Mule that's just below it. So multiply this by 100. So now you'll need 150 ounces of bourbon, 150 ounces of grapefruit, so on. And then for the Mexican Mule, same thing. Just multiply this by 100 instead of the 200. Once you've determined that, you're going to generate your PDF. So now you know how much you need, all that stuff. So you can generate your PDF. If you need to make any adjustments, you can just recalculate. So say you want to do a little bit more beer, or a little less beer, I'm sorry, and a little more cocktails. You can just recalculate it and it will adjust as comes up. Let's say we're going to do a beer and wine only event. So this one, obviously, since the ratios add up to 100%, if you raise the beer, the wine's going to be the difference between that and 100. So there is no lock option, but you can slide it up and down as you see fit. We're going to do the industry standard, or just 40% beer, 60% wine. But again, you can adjust it as you see fit. We're going to calculate it. Now, as you'll see, the liquor is gone, and the rest of the options, the beer and wine, have raised, since now liquor is no longer an option for guests. So you're going to do 64 ounces of lager, 64 ounces of IPA, etc., and go on that way, and it will break it down. Finally, what you can do, like I mentioned, you can generate your PDF, and that's going to create a shopping list that you can either save to your phone, print it out, and then if you want to go in person down to Costco or your liquor store, it'll have that list just for you, so you can just kind of use that as an exact shopping list. You need 64 bottles, go find a couple 24 packs or whatever. Or if you go online, you can go to bevmo.com, just have that on your screen and just say, okay, I need this many beers, or this many lagers, this many IPAs, and then you just fill up your shopping cart and check out. Makes it really easy that way. One thing, some venues do only allow cocktail services for a set period of time. What you're going to want to do is you're going, like, for example, say your venue only allows 2 hours of cocktails. So you're just going to do 2 hours of cocktails, of beer, wine, and cocktails, and then just generate the calculations there. And then say your event total is 4 hours or 5 hours. So then the 3 hours of the remaining is just beer and wine. So you're going to determine that much. And then you're going to combine those two lists together. So say it said you needed 20 beers for the first 2 hours and then 40 beers for the beer, wine, and only portion. You're just going to take those and it will be 60, and then break it down however the list shows you. One other thing I wanted to touch on is the champagne toast. So like I said, if there's champagne, it's going to be an option to choose champagne. And what it will do is it will reduce the amount of the other options that are needed. So say you're doing, and this will work whether you're doing beer and wine, it will reduce all the amounts needed, since one of the drinks will be champagne. So what you're going to do is click champagne toast. Everything else is the same, and then you're going to hit calculator. As you saw, the numbers reduced a little bit, and then now it's going to show you need 13 bottles of champagne or any bubbly that you may want to choose. And that's it. Generate PDF. You've got your list ready to go. Make it easy shopping, and there's not a lot of extra waste or, overspending or just confusion on what to get. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know, whether it's in the comments or just shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to help you determine what you need. And that's it. Take care, guys.